gentlemen, once again, we're boarding passengers seated in zones E and F at this time. Your zone number. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host, and I'm very pleased to welcome Lee Harris from ATPI Travel. How are you this week?
I'm very good, thanks, Ria. Yep, not too bad at all. The summer is coming slowly to an end, isn't it? But we're hanging on to the decent weather here at the moment, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get a few more weeks out of it.
Yeah, well, we've missed you the last couple of weeks, but you seem to have a bit of technical difficulties there.
Yeah, last week was technical difficulties. For some unknown reason, my laptop didn't want to play a game. Thankfully, this week it seems to be okay. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can make it through the interview.
Knocking on wood.
Yeah.
Right. Let's head into it. Of course, more often than not, especially during the summertime or any holiday, really, there's got to be a little bit of strike action. Portuguese strike is happening.
It is indeed, yeah. An upcoming strike announced by ground force employees, which is set for this week, August 31st and September 1st, will lead to significant disruptions at airports, according to the Portuguese Transport Workers Union. The union has indicated that the strike will result in delays and numerous flight cancellations, affecting all destinations serviced by Portuguese handling services, including those of the national carrier Air Portugal. Now, the main airports of Lisbon and Porto are likely to be the worst hit. Now, for anyone travelling on Air Portugal or to Portugal, please keep in contact with your airline or the travel provider you use.
Right, and of course, it's not happening directly, but it was due to come all the way back from 2017. EU entry and exit systems are coming into play, and it's going to cost you a little bit of money. Not a lot, but a little bit and some time.
It will, yeah. So the cost is €7. They've said it at the moment. I'm sure that could still possibly change, but it's €7 at the moment. And even though it was previously announced by multiple media platforms that November the 10th would be the launch date of the entry-exit system, this is the first time that the EU has officially confirmed its implementation date and set a target day. Now, once the EES becomes effective, Commissioner Johansson said that 700 million people travelling to Europe would be affected every year. At the same time, she emphasised that the system would ensure that 450 million Europeans would feel safer. Now, the entry-exit system is an automated IT system that will register foreign travellers entering the territory of the EU for short stays. That's regardless of whether they are eligible for visa-free entry or not. Now, the system will replace the current manual passport stamping and will register the traveller's name, type of travel document, biometric data, that's their fingerprints and facial images, and the date and place of entry and exit from the EU. Now, in addition to registering the entry and exit of travellers, the system will also record entry refusals. Now, the UK government has already warned UK passengers to Europe to expect significant delays. One study has suggested passengers travelling to Europe via ferry could face delays of up to 15 hours when this system first rolls out. Obviously, November is the time it's going to kick in. Honestly, be prepared with your flights, check in early, all the rest of it. It's going to be an absolute nightmare, without a shadow of a doubt, especially travelling into Europe. UK passengers, be aware. I'm not sure everybody knows that they're going to be affected. Obviously, Brexit means that they are. I think some are still either in denial or haven't actually picked up on the fact that they are going to be grouped into the people who are going to get caught up in the entry-exit system as well.
Well, and it's, something I have to point out, because England always feels like, or the UK always feels like it's against them. And, oh my goodness, no, this is worldwide. It's not just for the UK. It is for everybody in the world. We all have to do the same thing if we aren't part of Europe, the European bloc, essentially. And on top of that, I read an interesting stat the other day that it was actually England prior to Brexit that was pushing for this system to be in place and for the EU to strengthen their borders. And they were actually the member state that was pushing the hardest. So this whole, development that is coming into place in November, the UK actually was the one that was behind it the strongest and pushed it the most. So don't complain, because that's what you wanted. And then after you push for, that's when you decided not to become part of the Eastern Bloc or the European Bloc anymore. So really, it's all of your own making.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you just have to take your hats off to the government. I mean, they've done a sterling job.
Oh, do you know what? I can't say that there's a single government on the face of the planet right now that's doing much of a sterling job anywhere,
No,
or even much of a job at all. Anyway,
just any kind of job.
yeah, right. And the federal government is taking a look at the Australian Airlines. What's going on there?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. So anyone who has been listening to the crew travel updates these past few months will know it's been a bit of a slog for Australian passengers due to numerous strike action by various airlines across numerous Australian airports. However, Australian airline customers could soon receive compensation for delayed and cancelled flights under a major overhaul of passenger protections. Now, it's something Aussie travellers have long battled with airlines over, but that could soon change with the Albanese government planning to establish a new watchdog called the Aviation Industry Ombudsman to clamp down on the sector. Now, the External Dispute Resolution Service would be able to force airlines and airports to provide compensation to consumers, publish reports on airline and airport behaviour, naming and shaming companies doing the wrong thing, and refer alleged to authorities. Now, under the scheme, airlines will also have to explain the reasons behind flight disruptions as part of their regular reporting to the federal government. Now, the government has been examining options to hold airlines accountable amid an influx of passenger frustrations following cancelled flights and difficulties extracting refunds or travel credits out of the carriers. Now, it plans to pass laws for the creation of the new watchdog next year, with an interim ombudsman to be appointed in the meantime, possibly as soon as this week.
Be nice to have that the world over.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Actually hold people accountable.
Shocker. No.
Yeah.
Big corporations being held accountable?
Madness.
Oh, I might faint. And Air Canada has some news.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So Air Canada also faces a strike threat by pilots from next month. Air Canada's Airline Pilots Association, which represents more than 5,200 flight crew, said a strike mandate vote passed with 98% support last Thursday. Now, the union has been negotiating with the airline for more than a year, with ongoing talks overseen by a federal conciliator. The process is due to end on Monday, today actually, followed by a 21-day cooling off period, which leaves September 17th as the earliest possible strike date.
Well, everybody will be back in school then, so it's not, they're not pulling a France.
No, they're not. No. I mean, that could be the new term, really, couldn't it? You pulling a France.
Well, I mean, it happens all the time, right? I mean, you just know it, especially after we've been doing this show for 4 years now. And especially after having done the show for 4 years, 4 summers, 4 Christmases, 4 spring breaks, 4 fall breaks, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, every time there's going to be like an influx of travel. Oh, France.
Yeah. I think, you know what? I think I'm going to use it for any employees that call in sick either on a Friday or a Monday, especially when a bank holiday's on the other day. That's what I'm going to call it, pulling a France. just maximizing carnage in the office.
I like that. Hey.
Yeah.
There's a man for you. Right. And EasyJet has news.
Yeah. In good news for yacht crew based in the southwest of the UK, EasyJet is to add Amsterdam to its network from Southampton Airport. EasyJet will operate 2 flights a week on Mondays and Fridays from October. The new route follows the airline extending an Alicante service into the winter season to provide year-round flights. Amsterdam becomes the carrier's 7th route from Southampton, adding to domestic services to Belfast and Glasgow, and flights also to Geneva, Alicante, Palma, and Faro.
Well, that's good news. It's always good news when there's a couple of routes and cheaper routes as well that are opening up, because crew, especially crew that are looking for work, not crew that have actually already gotten work, but crew that are looking for work to be able to travel where they need to go with, a pretty decent price point. I mean, it's not the fanciest travel, but.
No, and I think the thing as well is with Southampton, especially across to Amsterdam, because Amsterdam's a great transit point for crew, whether they're going to the Caribbean or whether they're going to carry on into Europe. And the issue you've got is from Southampton to Amsterdam, you've only really got KLM, so it's a bit of a closed market, and as such, flights are busy, flights are expensive, so at least getting EasyJet on the route as well. Like you say, it might not be pretty travel, but the price point is going to be hopefully a lot better than what KLM is, or it will force KLM to bring their prices down.
Yeah, competition is good. Competition is good, which is why corporations need to be taken to task, because that creates more competition.
Yep.
See how that all works well together?
It didn't. It rolled in nicely.
I know. I'm good like that. So, Lee, I want to say thank you. And again, if any crew have any questions, we will provide all of Lee's information below this interview when it airs. Please do feel free to get a hold of him or get in touch with him. And if it can be answered a week from now, we'll do it on the show. But if it needs to be answered directly, Lee will take care of that as well. Lee, I thank you once again for your participation.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
I'm going to give you your participation badge.
Thank you very much. I'll get that in the post, will I?
Yeah, it's in the mail. And because I'm in the EU and you're in England, it might get there sometime next year.
Oh, great. I'll make sure I'll wear it.
Right. You've been watching another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I have been your host. And of course, with my co-host, Lee Harris. We'll see you again next week.